on worldwide television. Can you fight this nigga talking match?
And due to his environment and the way they managed to like build his mindset, it wasn't like just his physicality. The way they changed his mindset, he managed to become a heavyweight champion of the world. And it showed if you apply yourself to something, you can do anything.
And I gotta say, AJ looks composed. You know what he reminds me of? My wife said this. You know how a Komodo dragon like kills his prey? Komodo dragon will bite its prey and then just follow it for days while the poison seeps into the prey's body, and it'll just watch and follow, stalk. Anthony Joshua hits you with probably his hardest shot. You dropped and said, wow.
I was like, wow, that was nice.
Did he surprise you with his power?
No, but I mean, he surprised my jaw.
Talk to me about what your jaw feels like.
It's like a baseball in there. 4 titanium plates. How many do you have?
Just one.
I told you. That laugh from Mike Tyson says everything. This is what happens when hype crashes into real heavyweight power. Jake Paul talked himself into believing he belonged at the top level, and the sport answered brutally. This was never about luck. It was about levels, experience, and consequences catching up fast.
All night. Listen, I think he's taking it very, very seriously because his health depends on it.
This is where the illusion collapsed. Jake Paul felt untouchable after beating a 58-year-old Mike Tyson, but the moment he stood in front of real heavyweight danger, the bravado drained away. No swagger, no control, just survival instincts. Fighters like Alexander Usyk live in this pressure. Jake Paul simply visited it and folded.
Paul landed a beautiful jab with right hand first, right there, and knocked Mike off balance 2 times. And Mike was highly off balance right there. I don't like how...
Joe Rogan is breaking down the severity of that punch, explaining that it was a full force shot to the temple that left Jake Paul completely disoriented and unaware of his surroundings. That explanation exposes the real gap between hype and elite boxing. When genuine heavyweight power lands clean, there is no room for tricks or confidence. Alexander Usyk survives these moments through skill and composure. Jake Paul looked overwhelmed the instant reality hit.
Stepping in as well. Over the top. I mean, that was a full force shot to the temple. I mean, he's right now. So they wipe off his gloves, but you look at him like he's really feeling it right now. I mean, he probably has no idea.
Derek Chisora is mocking Jake Paul by saying the only bravery he showed was running away when the pressure arrived. He describes Jake jumping around, falling over, and avoiding exchanges from the very first round. That breakdown paints a clear picture of panic, not tactics. Elite fighters like Alexander Usyk remain composed and in control. Jake Paul spent the fight trying to escape danger rather than face it.
Give him credit for that because there's a lot of...
The bravery for running away when he got tired.
No, the bravery...
Sorry.
No, go.
Sorry. From round 1, running away, jumping up and down, falling down on the floor. Yeah.
Dana White is pointing out that Jake Paul only finds success against carefully chosen opponents and struggles whenever he faces real boxers. He highlights the reality that beating an aging fighter is not proof of elite ability. Calling out world-level champions becomes comedy at this stage. Alexander Usyk earns his position through discipline and risk. Jake Paul chases validation until the truth exposes him again.
Mike Tyson, Jake Paul. What's your take on Jake?
Tyson's 58 years old. Jake fought a guy who was his age and was also considered a boxer, and he lost.
He says he wants to fight Canelo.
I mean, it'd be a fucking 30-second payday for Canelo.
Duke McKenzie is saying that Jake Paul's constant trash talk finally came with consequences. He believes the broken jaw was something Jake brought on himself through arrogance and provocation. This was boxing restoring balance. Alexander Usyk respects the danger of the sport and understands the cost of mistakes. Jake Paul treated it like entertainment and paid for that mindset in the ring.
Anthony Joshua did that to him because now he won't be able to talk like he does. For a while,
Carl Froch is criticizing the performance by highlighting how little Jake Paul actually did during the fight. He points out that surviving without engaging is not boxing at a serious level. Landing 2 punches in that time shows a lack of threat and intent. Alexander Usyk uses movement to create dominance. Jake Paul used movement only to delay the inevitable.
It's a fucking piss take that this guy's in there with Anthony Joshua, swinging away, landing... What's he done? He's had 18 minutes and landed 2 shots.
and he's gone on survival mode.
Anthony Joshua is admitting the fight was not perfect, but makes it clear the objective was always to hurt Jake Paul and shut him down. He explains that patience was required because Jake refused to engage properly. That honesty exposes the reality of the matchup. A real heavyweight does not rush chaos, he applies pressure until the opening appears. This is how elite boxing works. Fighters like Alexander Usyk understand timing and punishment. Jake Paul was not competing to win, he was waiting to survive until that right hand erased the illusion.
Appreciate everyone in this venue. Now, you asked me a question. Look, it wasn't the best performance. It wasn't the best. The end goal was to get Jake Paul, pin him down, and hurt him. That has been the request leading up, and that was on my mind. It took a bit longer than expected, but
Johnny Nelson is explaining that people did not just want a knockout, but wanted Jake Paul mentally broken. He describes how the confidence was stripped away round by round until Jake was repeatedly dropping to his knees. That tells the real story of the fight. Boxing is not always about one punch, it is about dismantling belief. Alexander Usyk breaks opponents mentally before they collapse physically. Jake Paul entered with confidence borrowed from promotion and left with nothing left to protect.
They wanted AJ to knock this boy out clean and get rid of him because they, you know, everybody I've spoken to, they just wanted, they're like, I want to see Jake Paul get knocked out. And I just said, I don't want to see him get knocked out. I want to see him get beat up. I want to see him quit. I want to see the reality of everything he's saying and doing kick in. And in a way it did happen, but he didn't get beat up. And slowly but surely the confidence, the self-belief ripped out of him to the point where he's dropping on his knees. He's like, he must have fallen down about 12 times.
Eddie Hearn is acknowledging that Jake Paul survived longer than expected due to movement and holding. He gives credit for toughness, but not for skill. That distinction matters. Toughness without technique only delays damage. Elite fighters like Alexander Usyk combine durability with intelligence. Jake Paul relied purely on survival instincts. When the clean shot finally landed, the difference in class was undeniable, and the result was written instantly.
Yes, it took AJ a couple of rounds to get hold of him, and then he knocked him spark out and broke his jaw. It was a frustrating 2-3 rounds maybe, because Jake was moving so much, holding.
Boxing ego is focusing on the physical damage and making it clear how serious the injury actually is. A broken jaw in 2 places is not promotional hype, it is medical reality. This is the price of stepping into heavyweight boxing without the foundation. Alexander Usyk understands risk because he earned his way up. Jake Paul skipped steps and met consequences that cannot be edited or spun away.
It's a broken jaw, it appears, after fighting Anthony Joshua, right? I made this graphic for you guys. You see it. Got his jaw broken in 2 places.
Care of me forever and ever? A little fucked up. But will you take care of me forever and ever? A little fucked up. But will you take care of me forever and ever?
Dave Allen is saying the contest was one-sided, while still giving Jake Paul credit for fitness and clever movement. That summary captures the truth. Fitness can help you last, but it cannot win fights at this level. Boxing is about control, damage, and intent. Alexander Usyk uses movement to dominate opponents. Jake Paul used movement to avoid confrontation. That difference defines professionals and pretenders.
But the fight was, it weren't a fight, was it? It was really, really one-sided. Jake Paul, yeah, I've got to give him credit really, because he's super fit. He's pretty clever really. Like, he'd make a good journey.
Vidal Riley is emphasizing how Anthony Joshua's victory extends his reach and showcases his skill to audiences beyond his usual fan base. He points out that even established champions like Joshua continue to grow their influence through performance. In contrast, Jake Paul's exposure comes from hype and shallow victories against non-elite opponents. Alexander Usyk earns his reputation through consistent skill and dominance at the highest level. Jake Paul relies on clout and social media presence, but crumbles under real pressure. This fight highlights the clear gap between showmanship and genuine boxing mastery.
AJ's win today was the bread. AJ's win today was the exposure to more people. Even though he's mad famous, as we know, like, there's a community he hasn't touched. and I think he touched that community.
Logan Paul is highlighting the resilience Jake Paul displayed despite rolling his ankle and breaking his jaw. He acknowledges toughness, but the context shows that physical survival does not equal skill. Jake Paul is in over his head, relying on willpower rather than technique or strategy. Elite fighters like Alexander Usyk combined intelligence, timing, and experience to dominate rather than just endure. This exposes Jake Paul's limits. Even when he survives, the lack of real boxing foundation is glaring. Toughness alone cannot mask the fact that Jake Paul is outclassed and unprepared for high-level competition.
In my opinion, he won 4 of them. People argue that. He at least won 3. No one expected him to last that long. Rolled his ankle, broke his jaw, still fucking fighting, man. Like, that's toughness. You know, most people wouldn't have the balls ever to step in a boxing ring in their life. He stepped in a boxing ring with one of the baddest men on the planet. Who's 40 pounds heavier than him and 6 inches.
The Wade Playmans is explaining that Jake Paul's only goal was to survive and land a single right hand. This strategy slowed Anthony Joshua temporarily, but does not disguise the reality. Jake Paul was never in control and lacked true offensive capacity. Alexander Usyk would have exploited such weakness immediately with skill and precision. The observation confirms that surviving does not equal competence. Jake Paul exists in the illusion of competition, using evasive movements to delay defeat rather than to dominate. Reality hit hard when proper technique and power arrived, exposing him fully.
But I think Jake fought a very, how do I survive long enough to land a right hand type of fight, and it made it a little difficult for AJ to get his timing. No excuses. AJ didn't look great, I'll be honest. He didn't look great. Didn't look like an AJ we thought we were going to get, the marauder, the guy that was going to come forward and bang out Jake in 1 round.
David Hay is suggesting that Jake Paul is better suited for smaller fighters closer to his size because he lacks the foundational training for elite heavyweight boxing. This observation underscores the gap between Jake Paul and true professional athletes. Elite fighters like Alexander Usyk have years of schooling and experience to compete at the highest level. Jake Paul relies on showmanship and social media hype to sell fights. His survival at heavyweight was fragile and exposed. This commentary highlights how dangerous it is for someone underprepared to challenge seasoned professionals and shows the limits of his skill and strategy.
Say he sticks with the cruiserweight division where the guys are the same size as him, because that, without having the schooling.
Daniel Cormier is pointing out the obvious mismatch as Anthony Joshua dominated. He notes that Jake Paul was clearly out of his depth, unable to keep pace or challenge effectively. Even a casual observer can see the skill difference. Alexander Usyk never faces opponents who can mask their weaknesses like Jake Paul tries to do with evasive movements. Joshua's performance highlights Jake Paul's lack of strategy and preparation. The commentary emphasizes that physical bravery is meaningless without technical competence and shows how elite boxers expose pretenders.
Hey, Joshua looked good, dude.
Joshua looked good.
He looked good right off.
Joshua actually looked like he was fighting a guy that was not on his.
The fight against Anthony Joshua revealed everything about Jake Paul. He came in full of confidence after beating carefully chosen opponents, but reality hit instantly. Experts like Joe Rogan, Derek Chisora, Dana White, and others all noted the same thing. He was outclassed, disoriented, and constantly running. His survival instincts only delayed the inevitable. Broken jaw, evasive movement, and desperate punches highlight that Jake Paul is far from being a real heavyweight threat. Meanwhile, Anthony Joshua and fighters like Alexander Usyk showcase how skill, timing, strategy, and mental toughness define true champions. Jake Paul's career is built on hype, social media, and showmanship, but against elite professionals, the cracks are impossible to hide. Every expert reaction confirms this gap. This fight should serve as a lesson to anyone hyping a fighter based on charisma rather than substance. The truth is clear. Jake Paul struggles against experience and power. Join the debate and let us know in the comments, do you think he can ever rise to real heavyweight standards, or is he permanently a performer playing at a level far above his capabilities? The evidence is undeniable and the fight tells the full story.